Today's episode of the Riderflex podcast is sponsored by our friends at Vacation Fund. It's a new employee vacation saving platform. It allows employees to direct a portion of their paycheck into a separate vacation fund account and allows companies to top up those contributions. Vacation Fund is a cost-effective strategy for competitive companies to attract talent, reduce the risk of burnout, and increase employee retention. And on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, here's a topic I've touched on many times before on this podcast: arrogance, or just being too cocky as a job candidate. Lots of you that flow through the Riderflex process, and I'm sure with many other recruiters, you are C-level candidates or you're VPs or directors, and you've had lots of accomplishments in your career, and you're super proud of those accomplishments, which you should be. You just got to be really careful how you're coming across during a job interview. Don't overplay it, don't oversell it on your accomplishments. Also, don't make it all about you. Rarely did you alone conquer all of those accomplishments, right? It was a team effort. The people around you, the people that supported you, etc. So don't make it all about yourself. Don't oversell it. Don't overplay it. Don't get too cocky and too arrogant during the job interview. Your resume and your LinkedIn profile already speak to many of your accomplishments. You should highlight those during the job interview verbally, but don't get too cocky. Okay, show humility during the interview. I mean, it's really super attractive, actually, especially when a C-level candidate comes into an interview and they are able to be humble in their approach and compliment people and teams and all the folks around them that helped reach all of those major accomplishments during their career. That's what's super attractive. Keep that in mind. So check yourself when you're practicing for job interviews. Make sure you're not coming across too cocky or too arrogant. And by the way, one last thing. This usually happens when somebody is interviewing for a spot maybe lower or beneath where they were before. What I mean by that is maybe you were a CEO and now you're interviewing for a VP spot, or maybe you were a VP and now you're interviewing for a director spot. So you're interviewing for less responsibility or a smaller position. That's when the arrogance really comes out. Check yourself. Make sure that you're not sounding that way. Don't be overly cocky during an interview. It's not attractive at all. Confidence is one thing, but arrogance is a different thing, right? So just keep all of that in mind when you're giving your presentation. Humbly confident might be a term that you can use. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.